The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages that we cover. This week we'll be starting with Lima and Mike Falk. Mike, what's going on in Lima?
Hey, Chris, thanks for hosting us again. We do have a quantity of gun locks and tick removers that were dropped off here with the town clerk as part of our hunting license program. But they're free to anybody. If you need a gun lock tick remover package, please stop by and see the town clerk. They're there until they're gone. Trunk or Treat is going to be here at the town hall, October 31st, 6 p.m., sponsored by the Rotary. The Presbyterian Church here in Lima is going to be having their pork dinner November 1st, 4 to 6 p.m., $18 a meal. It will sell out, so be early. Legion Post 282 is going to be having their annual turkey raffle, also on November 1st, starting at 5, 6 o'clock at night. This is the Lima Legion Post, which is actually north of the Four Corners in West Bloomfield. Turkeys will be available, and meat packages from Duval Farms. We are waiting on a letter. The village at their last board meeting authorized the mayor to send me a letter indicating that they would be abandoning their code enforcement program here in the village of Lima. That means that the town of Lima has to take it over and then administer the code enforcement and the fire marshal inspections and the building inspections for the village and the town outside the village. What this does is it transfers about $30,000 worth of cost to the town. And of course, I'm sort of at the end of my budget cycle, so now I've got to try and make some juggling happen in order to do that. It also moves the payments and stuff for the code enforcement office from our B fund, which is outside the village, to the A fund, which includes the village, so that we're moving all of that around. Not an expected expense, so we will see how that affects things. And that's all I got, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Over to Rick in Honeoye Falls. How's it going there?
Oh, good, Chris. Thanks. It's just a couple of quick things, and really, as of the airing of this show, if you will, in Honeoye Falls, we will have had our business trick-or-treating event, which is scheduled for Saturday, the 25th. So we hope that weather is great and the kids all have a great time. I know there's quite a few businesses that are taking part in that. That's starting with a parade at 10:30 a.m. at Pinehurst, and then the kids continue on down into the village from anywhere from 11 o'clock right up till 1, where the businesses will be out giving away candy, etc. And I know there will be here at the Village Hall as well. So we're looking forward to that. Also on Saturday at 7 p.m. was the Honeoye Falls Community Concert Band Autumn Concert. And again, we're always so lucky to have these talented musicians doing their concerts. And that was at the Honeoye Falls Middle School Auditorium. On Friday, I was able to attend also the Henrietta Senior Citizens Gathering. They have a great senior citizens workshop every year. And as a county legislator serving part of Henrietta, it's always fun to attend that. They have a really great program in Henrietta and a lot of great presenters on that day. And then I just wanted to mention, too, that the November Monroe County full legislature meeting will take place on Wednesday, the 12th, instead of the normal date, which would have been November 11th, of course, Veterans Day. So with Veterans Day, we will not be having our full ledge meeting. We'll move that to the 12th. And then lastly, going back to the village again, just reminding people that we're in our leaf pickup mode. Please get your leaves out to the side of the road, out to the curbside. Our guys are going around, DPW guys are going around inside the village every day during the week picking up leaves. So get those out. Brush pickup has ended. So if you're putting out large sticks and branches and whatever, you're going to have to take care of those and make an appointment to drop those off at the drop-off location within the town confines at the Semmel Road facility. So, but one way or the other, leaf pickup is well underway. Get them out there while we're picking up. Thanks a lot. Have a great day and a great weekend.
Thanks, Rick. And now over to John Moffat in the town of Mendon. John, what's moving in Mendon?
Well, we recently had a very successful recycle event, collected 4,754 pounds of electronic recycling. Great to see the participation from our community. Because one of the reasons is, we want to keep that out of landfills. We also provided rabies shots, or the county did actually, for over 100 dogs and cats at that event. So certainly thank you to our town clerk, Michelle Booth, for facilitating the rabies shots with the county. Back on October 20th, the town board had a public hearing regarding the town of Mendon's 2026 budget, and it passed. The public hearing includes services for all the present services that the town of Mendon does provide, either directly or indirectly through contracts. And I will tell you that in speaking to many of the other town supervisors in Monroe County, our tax rate is flat, and there are a lot of towns that are not only raising taxes but exceeding the tax cap due to increased costs. We've been able to avoid that type of thing here in the town of Mendon through planning and reserves. We do have reserves for everything from highway equipment to the ambulance. And I know this was a point of discussion on social media, and the current contract that will be going into effect in January with the Village of Honeoye Falls for ambulance service is included, the funding for that in the budget. And like I say, that we even have a reserve fund for it set up. So obviously we're dedicated to emergency services in the town of Mendon. Also, I wanted to mention that, as I'm coming down, I'm going to use baseball terms since we're getting close to the World Series, and we've got Ernie Clement from neighboring Brighton, who's playing for the Toronto Blue Jays. Very excited to have a local connection. I don't think we've had one of those. I don't know if Mike's still on, but I don't think we've had a fairly local connection to the World Series since our friend in Lima's. His name's escaping me at the moment, but I know he's very prominent in the Mendon, or in the Lima Town Hall. Excuse me. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, we are open here at the Mendon Town Hall from 8 to 4. As always, during my time here, this is the end of my 16th year. You don't need an appointment to come in and see me or ask questions. I do suggest that because sometimes I'm out of the office from time to time. But I do receive phone calls and emails, try to respond as quickly as possible to those. Also wanted to respond. I had some questions because a lot of times these questions, it's probably several of my other elected officials on this call have, is you don't necessarily get them all at town hall. You get them at various places around town. And, there was talk of how the town of Mendon doesn't allow any, smaller square footage for housing. And our code does allow in RS 30, 1,000 square foot for a home. And the other ones, for a 1-story, 1,200 is the minimum, and for a 2-story, 1,500 square feet is a minimum. So there's not just all 4,000 square foot homes being built in Mendon. Also, lastly, the Veterans Day ceremony on November 11th is at the Four Corners in Honeoye Falls. A really nice ceremony. I suggest that you attend. It's 11 o'clock on November 11th. It is right after that, we do have our annual turkey dinner. This is another item that we started a few years ago for all veterans and their families. And as I've mentioned before, there's no residency requirement. There's no proof of serving in the military. You come with your family, we'll feed you. And we look forward to that event as well. And thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, John. John, just for clarification on one thing, isn't there already a subdivision going up north of the thruway that has smaller lots?
There are, and they are there because the reason they're smaller lots is because they've tied into the sewer system in Pittsford.
Okay. Yeah.
And that has allowed them to have, because there's you don't need the excess property for leach fields. And so they are smaller lots, you're correct, but I wouldn't necessarily say there's a smaller dollar amount attached to those homes.
Well, that's up to the developer to depend on what the seller.
Exactly.
But I mean, just in terms of the town code, we've already got those being built right now. So
yeah, absolutely.
Right. Thanks. Let's go over to Steve. Steve is here. I just don't see him. Or there he is. Hey, Steve. How's everything going in Henrietta?
Good. I'll just follow up on what John's talking about. You know, one of the things you hear is, well, if you allow smaller lots or smaller, especially smaller lots, so the houses are closer together, it saves the developer money. They're going to sell them for less. They won't. They're going to sell them for the market price. So, one of the things that we did is we put in our incentive zoning that if they're willing to build smaller homes, then we do give them a greater number of units because the smaller homes generally will be for less. Now, I'm sure what John was referring to is you typically will get more money for a house that's connected to sewer than a house that's on septic. Because like I'll use my example here in Henrietta, it's $35 if you're on sewer. That's how much it costs to have all your stuff taken away from your house and into the sewer. I can tell you it's a lot more than that to have your septic tank pumped. Even if you do it every 3-4 years, it's a lot more per works out to a lot more per year. So anyway, like I said, like others, we've put in place that that we have areas that can support the higher densities and the smaller homes. And so, like I said, we do have that in place. As far as news in Henrietta, we just had the ribbon cutting for the East River Road multimodal path and the whole corridor improvements. So back in 2018, my first year in office, there was a NTID student who was hit by a box truck. East River Road never had sidewalks, never had wide shoulders. It didn't drain well. And so a lot of the students walking from the apartments south of RIT, walking to RIT, would walk on the shoulder. And this particular individual, because it was slushy in the shoulder, because it didn't, like I said, didn't drain well, was walking close to the traffic. Like many students do, he was wearing dark clothing, and a box truck, the mirror, hit him in the back of the head. And he was in critical condition for a while, but thankfully he pulled through and ended up okay. But that actually started, I reached out to Assembly Member Harry Bronson, and at the time it was State Senator Patrick Gallivan, and they both came through with funding for a total of $1.25 million. The problem was it came through DASNY, who is notoriously slow at getting stuff, and when the pandemic hit, it got worse. And so it took 4 years to get the funding cleared through DASNY. And then once it was during that time, we had a new state senator, and Jeremy Cooney was able to get it over the line because it was stuck somewhere. And so he did get that freed up. And we were looking to start about a year and a half ago, start construction almost 2 years ago. Well, during that same time, Monroe County was planning to upgrade East River Road, the street. So they were adding turn lanes. They were adding in some places where there's lots of driveways, they added a center turn lane. They were adding a bike-friendly shoulder, and we went with that as opposed to a bike lane, because in Henrietta, we're all rural mail deliveries. And so if you have a bike lane at the edge of the road, you can't put the mailbox on the far side of the bike lane where it's safer for the people getting their mail. You have to put it on the traffic side of the bike lane, and that's really dangerous for the cyclists, the motorists, and the residents picking up their mail, not to mention the postal carrier. So what we did is we reached out to the Monroe County DOT and said, hey, we're building this multimodal path, you're building this road, we have to coordinate because of the as these turn lanes widen or the road widens, we would need to adjust the sidewalk. So we approached them and said, what if you guys took over the design and oversight of the construction of the road? And that worked out fabulously. The Monroe County DOT did a really good job. And by doing it together, we saved a ton of money. So much so that we have enough money left over to extend the improvements further south to Erie Station Road. But what we have now, so basically from the Thruway to Jefferson, they redid all of East River Road. It flows much better because you have, fewer people stuck behind folks turning. A lot of the intersections, pretty much every major intersection now has a signalized crosswalk for people crossing, because there were problems in some of the crosswalks where they weren't signalized. And then RIT extended the trail all the way up to their loop road. And we also, through our incentive zoning, had 2 developers were putting in apartment complexes extend the sidewalk or the multimodal path to the south. And so now what we have is over 1.75 miles of multimodal trail connecting that whole corridor. So it connects all the apartments to the businesses and to the campus on that stretch. So much, much safer. People who are really trucking on the bicycles, if they want, they can ride on the shoulders, or they could ride on the multimodal path. Yesterday, as we were getting set up for the press conference, we had to move all the tents and stuff forward because we were on a portion of the path. There were so many people going by. So it's already seeing great use. So, but it's just an example of great collaboration between all levels of government, town, county, and state. It's very happy with the results. And the last thing I'll mention is this will be the northern portion of our future Seneca Heritage Riverwalk Trail. So we've applied for a recreational trail program to build a riverwalk. Some portions of it already exist. Some portions we're already building through our parks. But our plan is to build a riverwalk trail that goes all the way from the RIT campus. On this section, because there's so many homes along the river, it'll be along East River Road. But then once you get to the former Kodak site, we've been working with Fred Rinaldi, who's the developer of the Riverwood Tech Campus. We're going to go behind the Riverwood Tech Campus, behind RG&E, through then all of the town lands. There's 2 parcels we're going to need to either purchase a section of land or get a trail easement over them. And then from there, it'll continue south. We've already begun discussions with the New York State Thruway Authority to go under the thruway at the river. And then it'll go down through our golf course and Breeze Park and actually connect into Rush, who was part of the same local waterfront revitalization plan as us. They're building trails south, and eventually it will connect all the way south to the Lehigh Valley Diamond Branch Trail that runs east-west. And so it will connect to all the other trails, including the Genesee Valley Greenway Trail that goes all the way down to Mount Morris. It'll be a great interconnect. We're very excited about it. And we've reached out to the Seneca Nation of Indians and have begun discussions that our plan is to have signs along the way that highlight the people, places, plants, and objects that were key to the Seneca peoples, especially in the pre-colonial days. You know, a lot of our history we celebrate, it kind of starts during the colonial period, but this area has been inhabited for a lot longer than that with a very advanced culture, one that, oh, by the way, parts of our U.S. Constitution were based on the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. So very excited about that whole project, and it was great to see that first portion ribbon cut. It was on Thursday. So very excited about that. Some of the stuff I'm not so excited about is the drastically rising cost of construction. Our municipal dog shelter, when the bids came back in, they were 40% over. So we've been working with the contractors to do some value engineering. Hopefully we'll get that on budget. The one that didn't come over budget was the new band shell. That one came in on budget. And we even just recently, it looks like we procured an additional $35,000 for it with a community benefit agreement from one of the hotel chains that's looking to go in. I'll wait till they actually sign on the dotted line before I say their name, but very excited about that. So for a long time, we've had a canvas band shell. It's been deteriorating. We're going to build an actual steel structure. Well, more accurately, Whitney East is going to build a steel structure, and then we're going to come in and add around it. We'll put in the stage. We're going to put in 2 restrooms, so during our concert series, we don't have to rely on porta potties anymore. And then there'll be like a closet and storage area. So very excited about that project as well. And then finally, we had to go out to rebid for the Riverton Oaks Municipal Golf Course's clubhouse. This wasn't the construction side of things. We've been talking about building it with a restaurant, and we went out to bid, and we were trying to keep it local, small mom and pop family or, restaurants, businesses in here. Unfortunately, we did not get enough response. And talking to the folks after the fact, they said with this economy, with the interest rates where they are today, everything else, they just couldn't commit to a new project. So we just went back out. We simplified it had been best value, and there was value given to being a Rochester operated business and also being a smaller mom and pop type of business. We took those incentives out. We still have the incentive in there for a significant amount of restaurant operation. But otherwise we simplified all the other stuff, and we went back out. We'll hear back in sometime in November is when the responses are due. So hopefully we'll get some good bid responses for some of the larger folks. Like I'd love a Flaherty's. They have the location in Honeoye Falls. Maybe they want one up in Henrietta. Someone like that, a Flaherty's, Jeremiah's, a Hooligans, one of these places that have multiple locations around the region. So we'll see what happens. And that's about it.
All right. Thanks, Steve. John, anything more from you?
Ken O'Day is the former Major League Baseball player from Lima. The name escaped me, so I just want to get that in.
All right. Well, bats off to you. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you all for watching. Remember, this show airs every Sunday at 1 o'clock on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Like the page and subscribe to the channel, and those platforms will notify you when the program begins. Otherwise, you could read the transcript in next week's paper. That's all for now. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. He's here all week, folks.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.